All right. So let me share my screen in a bit. Okay. Can my screen be seen?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, good, good, good. So let's start by today. We are not going to be going through any theoretical session. We are jumping right into the practical session. So we start with our command prompts. And before we jump into it, whilst we are waiting for the command prompt to give us open the notebook for us, how many of you were able to go through? Oh, sorry. How many of you were able to go through the notebook I shared yesterday? And what were some of the challenges you faced? And so we can see how I can see how I can incorporate that into today's class. What were some of the challenges you faced when you tried working on your own with the notebook I shared? I'm guessing nobody gave it a shot. Okay. Yes. All right. So let's call it academic report. We call it let's give it a version 2, V2. Yesterday should be V1 or something like that. We rename this and we are going to start from the top again, like we did yesterday. But this time around, I will not linger too much around the basics. I will pay more attention to how we can play around with the methods and the functions that are available to us in the modules that we import. So we start with importing NumPy as MP. Then we import Pandas as PD. Then from NumPy, we import random as RND. Then we import Matplotlib for plotting. Okay, so we can do it this way, doesn't matter. Do it this way, and then finally we import names, which we are going to use to generate the names we want. All right, I think this would be what we will do. Let's run this. Okay, so we want to generate our data sets from scratch again, like we did last time. And like I mentioned last time, you could have an Excel or a CSV file and load from there. You already know how to load data sets, so that shouldn't be a problem. But in this case, we'll be generating our own data set since we don't have one that we can work with. So let's start with the names. So it's student names. So who can help me with how we did it yesterday? For those that were here yesterday, can you type it in the chat if you still remember? Yesterday. Okay, we have one in the chat. Let me see. Good. Let's try it out and see. So we have one from Sham. Let's see. We have AJ. Good. Wilberforce. Emmanuel. Good, good, good. That's nice. Now let's run it and see what we get. Oh, in the absence of no errors, we will accept it. So voila. Let me see if it gives us what we are looking for. Good. So we have the names. All right. The next stop is the courses. So um, let's start with the subject chemistry score. Sorry, chemistry score. And what is the command for chemistry scores? Who can help us with it? And then who can help us with this? The command for chemistry scores is just random numbers. So you could choose to use NumPy or NumPy this way, or you could choose to use the random as well, whichever one works for you. Okay, good. So we have Sham using the NumPy approach. Any other option? Any other alternative? Sham is using this alternative. Any other alternative based on how we imported them? Any other alternative? So we can either do this or there's another alternative based on how we imported this yesterday. Am I alone? Can I be heard? Hello, can I be heard? Hey.
Hello, you can be heard, or we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I feel like I'm alone. If you can hear me, I want you to say, oh, you can be heard. Because of the question I asked, all of you are running away. Hey. All right. So we have, yes, we have Augustine, we have Wilberforce, we have Elom. All right. So Elom, your hand is up.
Oh, I was just going to say, please check the chats
Oh, okay.
for the
So
answer.
okay. So we have all of these. Good. So I can see Elom and Wilberforce are using the R&D. Good. And then Augustine and Sham, AJ. Good. Yeah, that's good. Very good. Very good. So Sham scores and then AJ's. Let's try AJ's because it's at the top as well. So I ran this. It's definitely correct. And this is also correct based on how we imported it. So these are the two options that we found in the chat. So that's good. That's good. So at least I know I'm not alone in this class. Very good. So now that we've done with chemistry, let's do this for physics, mathematics, all the courses that come to mind. So for me, I'll just copy and paste and just do sorry. I can't be typing it one by one. All right, so we have chemistry. Let's go with physics. And then the next will be math. And we have history, geography, all these ones. We can just put all of them in there. So we can have a comprehensive list. So we have history. have geography. So for how many courses we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's have like 8 or something, so we can have a more comprehensive list. So we have art, and then maybe music too. Okay, so we don't leave out resign. All right, good. So now that we have this, based on how we did it yesterday, what am I supposed to do next? If I want to convert all of these to a data frame, what am I supposed to do next? If you have the answer, you can lift your hand or you can type it in the chat. What am I supposed to do next? So now we have all the various courses and the student names in the form of a list. We want to, merge all together. Then we convert to a Pandas data frame. AJ, create a dictionary. Exactly, we create a dictionary. Very good, very good, very good. So we have to create a dictionary from that. So we call it scores dict. And you open it up. Always remember to close when you open. And now in there, we start with the names, okay? So let's just give it first names. First names. And what name did we said it was student that's called names. And I hope I got it right. I like to copy and paste the student names. Then the next is chemistry. We start with chemistry. Oh. Then we say chemistry scores. And the next one is, let me make sure I got it correct. Just copy it there. I don't make any mistakes. Then the next is physics. Then we have mathematics. Arts. Finally, music. Right. Yes. Now we have created our dictionary, which is the scores dictionary. Now that we have done this, what will be the next thing we do? We want to convert this into a Pandas data frame. Who can help me with this in the chat? Let me start documenting this. So let's do this to make our code look beautiful. So we can say we are trying to document this, make it look better. Three modules. Let me hit. And come here, we change it to Markdown and we run. Good. Oh, we want it to be on a different line. I remember we have to put like a slash or something, right? We did this together, I think. Yep. Okay, so let me just remove the this, move that, and let's see what happens. We're going to have something that looks nice. So you just want to make it look nice. So initializations, we import all the necessary modules. Then we can put another one here. Then let's call it generate data set. So see how some of these things are done. It's very simply done. So you can change that to Markdown. But in Python, you just have to use comments and it should be fine. Like in a dot, what do you call it? In the py.py file, you have to change it. Let me see. This should also give me something. I want to see the import. Nah, it didn't work. Yeah, so you just play around with it and then see which ones would give you some very nice results. Okay, there we go, like that. So we have generated a data set here. You can just put a simple, instead of putting the long one, you can just put something simple. It's just a comment. We don't even need to create this. You just put it up above this. From that list to data frame. Something interesting just happened at my end. I'm currently in Ghana and I don't know how to put it. The lights just went off. My PC could last for at most 15 minutes. So let's hope that it comes back on before my PC runs out. If not, then we may have to postpone this class. Yes. So I can see that quite a number of you have suggested solutions. That's very good. So yes, it's correct, very correct. Let me copy it. So we convert this to a data frame. We do it this way. Very simple. So let me put it. All right. So we keep going. We hope that it comes back before we run out. There's an error. This is not defined. So the name is student scores dict. Yeah. So scores dict. Yeah. Got it. Then we run it. We are good to go. Now we have the data. We want to visualize the first 5 lines and see how they look like, right? So we copy this, and then what is the command dot head into bracket? You can choose whether you want 2, 3, or 5 lines, but usually 5 helps. You can even use 4. It doesn't matter which number of lines. You just want to see the head. Oh, sorry, it's this instead. All right, the data frame. Yep. So you're able to see all of this. Nice. So we know the courses we have. And like yesterday, we mentioned for we want to see the description of all of this as well. So we just go with dot describe to see the standard deviation, the mean, the variance, and all those things. So we run this, you're able to see all of them. So the number of entries are all 100. We have a mean, so the mean are actually peaking around, 51 thereabout. You have the standard deviations, So this helps you visualize how your code looks like. So chemistry, someone had 0. So I probably think maybe the person did not sit for the class. Someone had 1. It could be the math for only the mid-sem. You never know. So these are some of the things you can see when you describe your data, because you have 100 students. You can't go through them with your, visually and then try to get these things. So this helps you see how it works. All right. Then now, what else do you want to do? Now we want to see the individual students, how they are faring. Okay. So we start with we want to see how each individual student is faring. But then yesterday, I remember we talked about the 2 ways of splitting the data frame. We talked about the index, way of locating items, and then the label way of locating items. And I mentioned that with the index, you would have to know the index of that person to get the information. However, with the label, you can use just the name. But in that case, you have to make the names the index. Okay. So what we are going to do today is we would have to make these names the index. Then we can compare the two going forward. See how the two actually communicate with each other. Okay. How we can group them and stuff like that. So when it gets to the point where you group and all that, this may not necessarily play an instrumental role, but in the absence of ambiguity, I just want us to understand how these two work. So we first of all have to convert this to a data frame where the first name is the index. How do we do that? Augustine, your hand is up.
Doc, please, can you go top small? Just go to the top small for me.
I'm here.
Go, just go again. Yes, this side. I want to see the command you put. You put student scores df.head.
Yes.
So when you put 4, it gives you only 4 students, or what does it do? I want you to just explain that side for me, please.
So you
I'm
see,
lost at that place.
yeah, I understand. It's okay. You see, we just created the data frame. It could be that we loaded it, okay? This one, we created it so we can see, but in case we loaded the data, we don't know how the data looks, okay? So what we do is use the head to, visualize how your data, the rows and the columns look like. So if I don't bring the head, okay, this is what happens. It will give me everything about the data, okay? So it tells me the data has 100 rows and 8 columns, but sometimes this is way too much. So all I want to do is just see a few, and I chose 4. So I chose 4, so I'm only able to see 4 lines, 4 rows, sorry. If I choose 10, I should be able to see only 10 rows. You see, that's how it works, 10 rows. So the number you put here in the head gives you the number of rows you would see. It's just for, visualization purpose, so you understand how your data frame looks like. So it's not like something giddy. Usually this is part of if you want to do your data analysis, you have to do all these things to see your data and see how you can play around them, okay? So like I said, yes. Does that answer your question, Augustine?
Yes, please. Yes, please. I get it now.
Okay, great.
Thank
So
you.
now how do I convert this, make the first names the index of the whole data frame? Who can help me with it? So we call that, yep, I have an answer here. Very good. Let me try it and see. I like the way today we are all forthcoming. That is good. Very good. So I think the name may not be right. It is first names, I think. So what you do in order not to fall into this trap, okay, is that you can first of all, right, do this. So you call the previous data set, the previous one, which is df, right? Then you go dot columns, right? So what this does is that it helps you see the, where is that? What? Okay, this is the one. Use that one. I used Control V. Yeah, I think it's okay now like this. All right, so let me run this. All right, so this helped me see the columns that I have in the data frame. This way you can pick the names correctly, copy them correctly, so you don't make mistakes all the time. So you copy them, you drop them here. What you want to do here, we run this, and voila, we have our answer. That is very good. So now with this data frame, we're able to see that we have the first names as the index that we want. So we can similarly do give it the head method or head function and then find out what the first 4 lines look like. So you notice that with this, okay, let me reduce the fonts a bit. So we notice that with this, you'd see that now the index column now is the first name. So you can easily use the first names to pick the data up. Okay, but in this case, the first name is another column within the data set, and the index still remains 0 and 1. So we want to find out how we can play around with it. So the way you access the information depends on the knowledge that's available to you. Okay. So for example, if you know that the students between index of 60 and 70, you want to find out how they are faring. Maybe that is how the class is being arranged, or you want to see how the last students in the class are doing. For example, you know how backbenchers are always like in a school. So you want to see how the people at the back are doing as well, So what you can do is there are 2 ways you can split it up. So the first one is we'll go with the index kind. So let's copy this. This is the name of the data set. And we want to see how the people at the back are doing, okay? So I want to see how the last 20 students are doing. How do I do this? Last 20 students. Based on array slicing that we studied, what do you think I would have to put here? We have beginning and an end. How do I write it here? You can put it in the chat. The last 20 students, how are they doing? Last 20 students. I'm waiting. Who can help me with this? We don't have time. Oh, you know power is off, so I may go off soon. So yes, so let me see. Last 20. Okay. Okay. Okay, we have one answer from Sham. Who else has a different approach? I like this as well. Let's see. Very good. So we get the last 20 students. That's a good attempt from Sham. Thank you for that. Yes. So he used the iLook, index location approach. Very good. So now you can see the last 20 students. And you can ask for the description of it. Okay. Dot describe. So now you can see how your last 20 students are doing. The back seaters. So you notice that the highest, they are doing very good. They are not that bad, Their mean is not bad and stuff like that. So this is the last 18. So Sham, I think this has to be 21 instead of 19. Yeah, because it's -1. So 20 minus 1 is negative 20 minus 1 is negative 21. Yes, that's a good attempt. Okay. So now we can see how the backbenchers are doing with this. Okay. So what if you want to see it for only, say, chemistry? How do we go about it? Using the index location, not the label location. Now we are focusing on only the index location. So how do we do this? I want I want to find out how the last students in my chemistry class are doing. Only chemistry. How do I do it? Who can help me? So how are my last 20 students in the chemistry class doing? The back benches. So you can know whether when you are teaching, the students at the back are paying attention or, they are, this can help you know how sitting position affects, students' scores and stuff like that. So we want to see how the students at the back are doing for only chemistry. Who can help me with this? Only chemistry. These are the column names. So for only chemistry. So now the column names, you should remember the indexes will be 0, 1, 2, in that order. So if I wanted for chemistry, what would the command be using the index location approach? No answer. Yes, I want you to try. Why does it seem that it's only Sham that I have in the class? James, Apel, Augustine, AJ, Muriel, where are you? I want to hear from all of you. Salom. Why do you also have lights out at your end? Because you're all quiet. Even me that I have light out, I'm talking. How come you you guys on the other side are still quiet? Okay, so we have this. Well, so this is a very good attempt, Sham, but I want the last 20 students, okay? So you will still follow through with the same one that you did, right? But I feel that the index you chose probably might not be the one we are looking for, because the index is the first names if we use this data set, which is not this one, this is df minus 1. This is why we've changed that one to yes. So we have to change this to 1. So we run this, and yes, it gives us, this is the chemistry class, all the information on the chemistry class. Then we just describe it as well. Dot describe to see how our backbenchers in the chemistry class are doing. You run this, it would give you a thorough analysis of how your class is doing. So you can do this for several of them. Now let's look at how the label aspect looks like. Okay. So for the label, if you want the last 20 students, how do you go about it? So now this will bring you the difference between using the what do you call it, the index location and the label location. So I want the last 20 students using so now we are working with this data set. Okay. Augustine, your hand is up. Oh, okay. So we are using this. Now we want the last 20 students in the class using the label. Last 20 students, who can help me? Who can help me with this? Want the last 20 students in the class using the label approach. Yeah, Elom, your hand is up.
I think we should use tail 20 to check the names of the last 20 students. Then we'll use lock, and then we'll pick the first name to the last name.
Okay, let's see how it works. So this is your approach, right? We go with so instead of head to get the top 4 or 5, the top rows, you are looking at the bottom rows. So this is what
Yes.
Elom is suggesting. So we go with tails, and we type 20. So we're able to see.
I
Not
think
tails.
there's no S.
Yeah, tail. Yeah, let me try it. Good. So we have that. Now, what do you say we do next? The last name is what? Danielle.
Danielle, and the first name is, I think, is it Barbara or something?
Barbara.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So what do we do?
So we would do student scores DF1 dot is it dot lock?
Dot log. I'm going with you, yes.
Then we square brackets Barbara to,
Okay. Let me copy Barbara.
I think it has to be in quotes. Let me verify.
Yep, it would be in quotes. Okay. Barbara to where?
To Danielle.
Okay, to Danielle. Let's see if it works.
I don't know if
This
it's
is
going to
how.
work.
No, it's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with programming. You just give it a shot. You understand? That is
Dot
what
describe
not
open bracket
describe. Okay.
open and close.
All right. Let me see. Cannot get right slice bound for non-equalable. Danielle.
Non-unique. It's saying Danielle is not. Danielle
Yes,
has multiple entries.
exactly.
So in this case, I don't know.
Yes, so in this
No,
case,
but
sure.
describe didn't spell well.
Where is it? Describe. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Sorry about that. Let's see what happens. It still gives us that error because in this case, Danielle is not unique. There are several Danielles within the data set. Okay, so now you notice that in this case, we may not be able to use this approach to get what we want. So now you see the difference that I keep talking about. These are some of the things that you come across when you are working with these things and when you play around them. Okay, So the label, using the label aspect has its own advantages and disadvantages. Same way using the index also has advantages and disadvantages. So I hope that this clarifies some of the challenges that we're having. For example, AJ, yesterday you were having some challenges with this. This is to draw your attention to why sometimes we use the location-based and, the label-based, and other times the index-based. Okay, so we'll get to a point where the location-based will also shine, right? Good. So now we want to do something else, okay? We want to pick all the students, right, that are doing well in this class, okay? So we want students that have scores, okay? Hello, your hand is up.
Please, can you leave that code and then maybe put a comment that it will only work if the scores for the last 20 students, like the first and last names, are unique, maybe, so that in case we want to do it at another time where we have unique names, we can remember.
Okay. Okay, Sham, your hand is up.
I wanted to ask, apart from using the tail that she suggested, I can see that later on the code didn't work. So what is the other way to be able to pick the last 20 using the label?
Yes, so that's what we are saying. So with the label, the labels have to be unique. You understand? Because if you look at the index, right? Indices are always unique. You can't have two rows having the same index. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes. So if the labels were to be unique, okay, for example, there was no Danielle except the Danielle at the last end, this would have worked perfectly. Do you understand now?
Oh, okay.
So the labels have
Yes,
to be
please.
unique. Because some of the labels are repeated, this will not work. For the
Okay.
index, some of them are repeated for the names, because they
I
would
repeated.
yeah. That is why it did not work.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. So we understand one of the challenges with the labels. I don't want this long. Okay, let me put this, then run it so I can hide this here. All right. So when you do this on your own, you would realize that it won't work. This will not work. All right. So let's jump in there. What is the next thing we want to do? I want us to do a lot of playing around. We create two data sets, merge them and all that. Then we remove lines, we add lines, remove rows, add rows, move columns, add columns, and all that. So that's what we'll be playing around today with. And then in some cases, when we're working with data, they might be empty, there might be some parts of the data that's missing, some entries that are missing, how to work around those things, those ones as well. So let's keep going. The first thing I wanted us to do is, so now, okay, we want to group the class, okay, by a certain metric, or we want to split the class using a certain metric, right? So what do? What we do is we want to split the class using what metric? Maybe we want to have the class such that the students that are 90 or above, okay, they are sorted out from the group of students. How do we do it? We touched on that yesterday. Who can help me with that? So I'm using the iLook. So we come back to the location, the label based as well, and talk about it extensively. But for now, let's focus on the index location one. So how do I do that? I want to get the number of students that are above a certain, score. How do I go about that? We did it yesterday. We did it yesterday. Who can help me? Okay, in the absence of no
I
answers,
think
yeah, Sharon has given me Wilberforce. Good. Let me start with Wilberforce. So Wilberforce, you are using location. You are using the label based. I wanted to see the index based. So what you have here might be right. I want to see the index base. Yes, Sharon, you also use the index base. I want to see the, sorry, you also use the label base. I'm looking for the index base. So what is the index? Look at it carefully based on what you've done, right? How do you get the index? So what do? Yeah, Elom, your hand is up.
Please, what's the question again?
So the question is, I want to get students that have math scores greater than 90. So like the A students in the class using the index based. I showed the location based yesterday. I want to see the index based. Okay, let's see Wilberforce. That's a good attempt. Let me try it. I have AJ as well. Good. I'll try all of them and then we'll see how it looks. Let me remove this first. I think this is what you want to do. And then you bring the space here. All right. All right, let me see how it looks. Good. So now it did not work, but let me use this one. So where is the name? Yep. Control C. All right. Yep. Boolean cannot take location, index location based. We are understanding something here, right? With this, what do we understand based on these solutions? What do we understand? It is definitely not going to work. So what do we understand based on these solutions that we have? So we have an answer from Appel. Let me see how that also looks. What do we understand? Let me copy it and use that one instead. Maybe type it correct wrongly. Yep. So what do we understand based on this? Based on this, You see, Apple got a response, but what he's seeing is showing him the comparative analysis of all the rows and the columns. So where it is less, it's false. Where it is a more, it's true. You understand? So this is how it will look if you go with the index base. Elom, your hand is up.
Yeah, I was going to say that the iLock
Mhm.
didn't work because it only works with indexes, and here we put actual names or labels. So we have to have like numbers, not the name of the column.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to draw your attention to. So when it comes to the index, right, you can only use numbers in here. Okay. So in order to perform certain operations, sometimes you may have to decide between the two, which one gives you the best approach. Okay. That's why I chose this example for us to understand. And also for this, you notice that iLook becomes a bit more cumbersome when we want to do some of these things. So this is to let you understand that even though they do different things, right, they all have their advantages and disadvantages depending on what you want to do. So this is how most programming, you have packages that are available to you, how you play around them. They might not necessarily give you what you want. So you have to know how to weave your way through all these challenges to arrive at where you want to go. So this is a typical example of how some of these things pan out when you are programming. There is no one way, there is no straightforward way of doing things. You have to think about what you want to achieve, okay? And then based on the building blocks available to you, that is the set of rules within each module, okay, or the set of methods that are available to an object. You use them to get what you want. So now we notice that working with this will not give us exactly what we want. If we want the true, we can add another code to sort out and bring us only the true rows. That is also great. But there is an easier way of doing it. Okay, that's why sometimes they ask if your code is efficient. One of the things that they upgrade codes to is from, yes. So Apple, try another one. Let's try this and see. We can try it. I like the fact that you want to play around more and all that. Let's see. So let me just copy maybe he didn't get this one right. So let me copy this instead. Let's see. So this is what we have. So it is telling us that scores that are greater are 99, 99, 99, 99. I don't think this is what we are looking for. You get it? So I like the fact that you are playing around. So these actually help you understand well what the capabilities of the modules you are using. You notice that I keep saying play around with it, play around with it. So when you hit a snag, you know that, oh, so my code cannot do this. This module cannot do that. Then you keep going. That is how you learn. Okay. So I like the attempts that you've tried. So AJ has one. Okay, no. So now we would have to go with the location-based approach. Okay, the index-based approach, because we can see that iLook is going to be index-based approach is going to cumbersome. So now we go with the label-based approach. Okay, so this is one from AJ. So we run this. Okay, let me just copy it right. And let me copy this as well and put it here. So all of them are right. So we see that she chose mathematics. Okay, so then it means that the data we are having would have all students, right, that are taking mathematics. Sorry, all A students in mathematics, and the other ones are not going to be the way we want it. The other ones are not the way we want it. Okay. So there's Wilberforce. We want to have it such that all of them would be in that, So we are playing around. Let me try Wilberforce's. What about this? Okay, maybe just remove the what about this from there. And then let's try this and see what happens. What is the name again? I want to get the name right. So I'll copy this. So that's a very good attempt, AJ. Very, very good one. Okay, let me just change this one as well. Yep, it's not going to work. Like I said, you're using iLoc. So if you want to change it, you just use the location-based insert. Sorry, the label-based approach. Then it's going to give you the answers you are looking for. Okay. So here we can see that the A students in mathematics are also good in music as well, because the other ones that we have here, not so good. So maths, so basically we can draw the inference that math students are good in music or something. You never know. So these are some of the things that these are some of the inference you can draw from how you play around with the data for the reporting system, okay? So let's keep going. So now what we want to do is we want to have a function, okay? And what we want to do is we want to have a function. And for the functions to be able to work on the countries, okay? Sorry, on the data. So now what we want to do is we want a list of data or people and their scores such that we have all of them in the East. We don't want to do it like one after the other like we are doing here. This is for comparative analysis, but we want to have all of them here. But what do you think the challenge would be? What do you think the challenge would be here? So what we will do, what do you think the challenge would be? Based on how you see this and you understand it, I want us to have a conversation, play around, and then work towards this. What do you think the challenge would be? We want to have the A students of all the courses listed here. Yes, Apple Gideon.
Sorry, it's a question. Can you repeat it? I didn't understand.
Okay, so you will notice that here, the approach we used here, okay, we compared it to only mathematics. So if we want to such that all of them here are greater than 90, how do we go about it? Some of the courses have no A students. Yep. I doubt that because we used random in our describe, right? We have maximum for all of them. The maximum is 93, 98, 98, 95, 9. So all the classes have A students. So the maximum score is showing A for all of them. So there is definitely A students. This is to answer Eugene's question. So this is what the describe helps you to see, who is doing like the highest score in the class, the lowest score and stuff like that. Okay. So what do you think we should do? Why don't we try to remove only this and see what happens? It does not work. And why is it not working? Greater than, not supported between instances of strings. So we notice that the reason why this is not working is because there's a column with strings, right? There's a column with strings. In this case, what column has strings? Names, okay? So what do? we have to choose the data set that we made there. We can either choose to remove the column with strings from this data set, okay? Or we can choose to use the data set that has the column as index, the name column as index. So let's try this using this one first. Okay. Then we run this and see what happens. So cannot index with multi-dimensional key. So you notice that however we try it, we are still hitting a snag. So what do? We have to write a function, okay? That will help us do this, what we want to do. Okay, so what would the function be? So we'll define that function and say, so what we want to do is we would have to look through the various files. We have to look through the various columns that we have. Okay, we write a for loop that will look through the various columns and then extract all this information for us. So now we are going to go into another method. That is the .apply method. So what you do is you write a function and then you apply the function to the data frame. Okay. So when you do that, now it's going to sift through the information and give out what you want. So what I'm doing is I'm just building us on how we are moving from one step to the next, to the next, to the next, until we get to the very end. Okay. So now what we are going to do now is let's start with that. So we can define a function and call it a students. A students, right? And then what does the a students take? It takes a column, right? And inside that column, what would it do? It will compare the values in that column, right? And do what? Turn out the results for us, okay? So what is the column that we are going to, or we can say that in that column, pick the maximum out of it. So we would say if, okay, a certain value in column, okay, so let's use maybe call in columns, in column up there, right? Oh, sorry. I forgot, I skipped the line. Pardon me, for call in column, right? If call, right, is greater than or equal to 90, right? We do what? We return call. What this does is, sorry, let me bring it here. Then let me put it underneath. So we'll just do that. And if we return column, so what we are doing is, for running this, if we find out that there's one in there that is greater than the column, then we just return the column, okay? We return the whole thing and then we run it again. So this is All right. Thank you very much, Irene, for that. Okay, so let's start the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, good. Sham, your hand is up.
Yeah, I was just confused about something.
Okay.
When you asked us to look for a student with a score above 90, and then I think someone provided an answer using the iLog
Yep.
for the student score DF1. It gave us an answer, but we changed the indices column with a name, so I don't know why it has worked for that.
Version 2, this is what we are working on now. Yeah. Okay, so I would have to quickly go through that aspect for you as well, so you get why it worked. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we can just run all. There should be a run all. Is this run all cells here? So we don't have to run it one by one. Yep. Run everything. I'm too lazy to do it. All right. So the answer he provided worked. Okay. Because even though he used the iLook, right? It is how he placed it based on the understanding of how the Pandas module works. You understand? For example, let's say you want to um, um, remove a screw from maybe something, and you don't have a screwdriver, but then you have a knife, and the tip of the knife is similar to a screwdriver. You see what you do? You find ways and means to play around to get that out. That is the example. That's what he did. Based on the building blocks available to him and his understanding, he tried to implement something that will give him that result. Okay. So that's one thing you need to understand. Like I said, there is no one way. Maybe the methods I'm showing here might be one way of doing it. There will be several myriad ways of going about the same thing. So he tried that, and I actually appreciate it when we do this. When we play around, it is when you hit a wall that you find the next available route. And now next time when you're using the same path, you may not hit that wall anymore because you've seen it before. That's why I keep saying the more mistakes you make in programming, the better you get at it. Because once you make that mistake, it registers in your subconsciousness. You don't repeat those mistakes anymore. So I like the fact that you play around. So you have to be playing around a lot. This is the error that we explained earlier on. So this is what you are talking about, right? So you see that he
Yes.
used iLook, okay? iLook works with indices. The reason why it worked, first of all, is that you should understand that in as much as this DF1, okay, let me create a new highlight here. In as much this DF1, okay, let me look at the head first. So we understand some. You can leave it empty, we'll still give you the head. First 5. In as much as this is the column, it still has this here is still index 1. Sorry, this is index 0, 1, 2, 3 in that order. But the difference with this is that now we have names that we can use the names to access these columns directly in case we don't know the index attached to each row. It's the same with the column. You remember that even though we don't have the column to be 0, 1, 2, 3 in that order, when we did it for the index location, it still worked. Here, we chose column, we chose here 1, but there is no 1 for the column here, right? The columns are 0, 1 in that order. Sorry, which one did we work with? Let me show you. So, of course, this one, the DF without -1. Yeah. I want to see. Yes, this one without that. You see, there's no 0, 1, 2, 3 here, but he still used 1 because this one still has the index of 0, 1, and that order. So if you use the iLook, you can just use 1 to get to these things, okay? And if you use the label based, then you just use the name. So based on your question, right, let's do something here. We'll come back to this, okay? So let's do something here. So we get a better understanding. There's an error, okay. So I want to see how the other data set also looks like. So let me put the head here. So we work with these two. What's the name? I didn't get the name right. What is the name? The name. So let me put that here. We'll come back to this one. So with this, okay, no, this is the one we are working with. With the previous one, the one that does not have the first name as the index column. We run this, okay. If we go this way, we put 0 in there. See what happens. Oh, sorry. I have to put .iLook. Yeah. What does it give you? What is happening here? Who can tell me what is this is? So it is giving us the first row, okay? And you know, it is always the rows that come first and the columns. It is giving us the first row. So if I want to get all the columns, okay, for the first row, what do? I bring the comma here and I put this here. Let me see what we get. This is similar to what we are having here, right? So now I want only this column within, where is it? I want only chemistry. So chemistry now has what? An index of what? 1 here. So what do? We go here, tell me, give me all the rows, but the chemistry column. So this is what it will give you, chemistry. This is the same as doing this. This same one is the same, okay, as writing this. Not iLook, it's look here. Oh, it's giving me only the row. Okay, yes, this is the same as doing this way. You don't need to bring the look, just the column. Yeah, this is the same as writing it this way. You see, so this one actually brings out only if you use the label form of doing it, right? You notice that it goes in and picks only the chemistry column for you. If you do it this way, this is the same as doing it this way. So you see the same thing can be done in two different ways. There is another way of doing this as well. This same one, same thing. You could do it this way as well. And you are going to get the results. So you see, one thing we want to do, even for just pandas, we've done it in 3 different ways. Sham, are you with me?
Yes, please. Yes.
You see, so like I said, there are so many ways of doing the same thing. You just need to understand the laws or the rules that are available to you. And then based on those rules, you come up with what you want. So you notice that some people could write a code and then it will be only 500 lines. Somebody will write another code doing the same thing and that will be around 1,500 lines. It doesn't mean that 1,500 lines individual does not know how to code. It is just the approach. Okay. So basically, in programming, what we do is we create the MVP. MVP is basically the minimum viable product or products that the first thing that works. Okay. So once it works, now you start iterating or making it more efficient. That is why there are always code updates going forward. Some is to remove bugs, and some is also to make the code run faster. So these are some of the things that you need to understand. So I hope that part is clear. Sham.
Yeah, it's clear.
Awesome. All right. So I forgot to do something. We need to save our data sets so that we can call them back, okay, when we need them. Then we look at how we play around when we call data as well, okay? So let's save our data. The first data set we have is this one. So what is the command to save it? Who can help me with it? Save it. Who can help me? It's straightforward. Type it in the chat if you can, if you remember. Who can help me? No one remembers? Okay, so it is basically to CSV. Then you provide the name of the CSV file, okay? So we will call it student scores, like that, dot CSV. Now once we run this, our code is saved. Our data frame is saved. So when we go back into our folder, we should see student score CSV. Yeah, this is it. And we saved it 9 seconds ago. So this is the folder that is on our desktop. I'm sure you all understand how to work with this. Similarly, let's save the final one, the other one as well, the one without, so we don't even need to save it. We can always recreate it. So now we have saved it. Okay. So we know how to do this. Let's create a new file, okay, and then load the data so that you'd see how we do something fresh without generating the data set. So this one just helped us generate the data set. So now what I want to do is I want to shut down this one and create a new file. And in the new file, we are going to look at how you load the data and then you play around with the data. If the data already exists in your, what do you call it, in your folder, or you have it in any other folder, depending on where you are working from. So we can call this academic report version 3. All right. So we do our importations. I don't want to type, so let me just go and copy all this. It's too much stress. All right, copy all of this. We remove this. because we don't have to create a new data set, so we can just take it out. We run this. Then, based on the name of the data that we have here, how do we load it? I did this yesterday. How do we load this data? Who can help me? No, wait. Who can help me load this data? What is the command to load this data? This is the name. We did that yesterday.
To read.
I want the entire command. So let's call it our data frame. So you can see some people will call it data, some will call it DF, data frame and all that. So we choose this one. What did you say? I'm listening. What will be the command? Yep, there's an answer in the chat. Let me see. Yes, pd.read CSV. Yes. So we will call the Pandas module, let me increase the font size. All right. Then we would read CSV into bracket our file name. And what is the file name from here? Okay, students underscore course.csv. So we come back here and we type students underscore course.csv. So when we run this, if there are no errors, it should load our data for us. Oh, scores, not score. All right, so I got the name wrong. S with an S. Yep, good. So we check out the data. And how do we check the data without loading everything? We go with the head. Okay, you can keep it empty, or you can put the number of lines you want in there. So we notice that it has loaded the data. So this is the case where you already have the data. Okay, so we start this one from scratch. Within the previous approach, we generated our data sets, but here, let's say we already have the data. So we just load the data like we have it here, okay? We see the head. So we notice that we still have an extra column here, which we do not want. It generated another column for us, okay? So what do? We come here, and whilst we are loading, we tell it that the index column, right, is the first row. Sorry, the first column. We run this. Now, when we run this, what happens? We have it this way. Now, so I have another idea. Something just popped up in my head. Okay, what if we want to make first name the index column directly from here? What do you think we can do? What do you think we can do? Just thinking aloud, to make our code so that we don't have to create a new data set with, different da here. What do you think we can do? How about we try changing this to 1 and see how our data set will look like, right? We are just experimenting. We do this and we run this. What do you see? You see that it has made this the index column for us, but then we have the index column from the previous save, okay? So what we have to do is we can choose to remove this column as well, right? Can choose to remove this column, right? So now let's see how we can do that. So df.remove. Let me see if it's going to work. We keep trying. We copy the column name, as always, and we put it in quotes. Then we run this. No attribute name remove. Okay, so we come back here online. Let's do this. Run this. So I'm showing you how, on a very good day, we do this. Okay, the command for removing a column is what? Drop. There is delete. There is pop as well. So now we can see how they work. So if I want to drop, this is the command I use. Okay, so df.drop. You choose the columns you want to drop, then you drop it, right? So you can choose, in some cases, you can choose to drop several columns. It's also available to you here. You understand? So now here you're able to see the differences in the approaches, okay, that you can use to do it. So there is the delete. If you do it this way, it will delete the column for you. There is the pop, okay? You pop the column from there. So you can try all these approaches. There's no one way of doing it, okay? So let's go back here. I wanted you to see this. So let's go back here, and now, how do we go about this? It says drop, right? Then you have to put this in square brackets based on the first approach, right? Which is this one. Based on the first approach, we'll try all of these, okay? This is what you have to do. But like I said, it does not want to change the main one. So it assigns this to a new variable. But we don't mind. You just have to pop it that way. So we go directly, come back here, and then we say columns is equal to that. Because we want to drop this. We don't want this here. We run this. Let's see what we get. Voila. It's done for us. Let's drop that column. You see how you play around these things. So depending on what you want to achieve, there are myriad of ways you can do it in programming. Don't restrict yourself to one way of doing it. We can drop. We have the pop. So I just use the same command that Google gave me. Most of these things, I keep saying, somebody might have, something you are thinking about or something that is stressing you in programming, somebody might have already done it. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's okay to use open source software from other, programmers. That's how you grow. So it's like somebody will lay the foundation, and then you spring based on the foundation that someone else has laid. It doesn't mean you are lazy. It means you are trying to be proactive. You understand? You are trying to be more efficient. That's how you do it. You don't waste your time on rewriting the code that somebody has already done for you. So that's basically what we did. So now we have our data set. So what you are seeing right now is another form of, usually in what do you call it? In machine learning, they call this part the exploratory data analysis. You are exploring the data, removing these things, adding some things, changing some things and stuff like that. That is what we are basically doing. Okay. Some also call it pre-processing, data pre-processing. And trust me, in machine learning, this process takes probably 70 to 80% of your time. Cleaning the data is one of the most difficult parts of, and the more clean your data is, the better the accuracy of your results. So most people spend more time on this, doing this, removing some of the columns you don't want, changing some of the missing data sets, the entries in the data and stuff like that. So that's what we are doing basically. So we've cleared this data. Now our data is clean, okay? Now what's the next thing we want to do? we want to check if there are no, what do you call it? If there are no zeros in our data, for example, we want to see if some of the data is missing, okay? So if we want to see if some of the data is missing, what do? We can choose to remove some of the data in the data set so that we can see how it looks like, okay? So let's go back to our data. Let me go back here and let me open an empty. Okay, and where are we working? We are working on the desktop and in this folder. So this is the file that we are working with, student scores, right? So let's delete some lines from the student score so that we can we can make it look more like realistic data set where some of the things are missing. Okay, so in this case, we want to remove some of the entries. So let's delete this. Delete that. Delete this. Delete. 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 Okay. Delete. So what we are doing is we are just making the data look more realistic, because usually in real life, when you, for example, if you do a survey and all that, there are some of the entries that might be empty. Okay, so we have done a few things here. Now we save this, and then we load this into a new data frame. Okay, so I'll show you how. Yep, that works. So now we had already loaded this. So this one does not have the empty data sets, empty entries in them. Okay, but let's load this again, but for a different name. We call it df1, or we can say df with missing entries. Right? The same way we did it from earlier. We do this, we check the head, so we can see how the data looks like. All right, so now we see this, we want to remove this. Let's use a different approach. We used drop previously. Let's look at another approach that we can use. These are all drops. Let's go to use the delete. So delete is also an option like this. So we go back to our code and we delete. Copy this. It says that you type delete, you bring this here, right? And then you bring the column name inside the square brackets this way. Go. And then we run this. Voila. So let's see if this column has been deleted for us. Head so that it doesn't take too much space. All right. So we see now this column has been deleted as well. So you see, we used a different approach to delete. This is another way that we did before. We used drop previously. Now we are using delete. So most of these things, the answers are always online for you to get, right? So now we have two data frames. So let's check if there are any missing data sets within our data set, okay? So we have to write it this way: pd pandas dot is null. This is the command that we put in the data frame that we are looking at, right? So let's try with the first one. What's the name of the first? The first one is just df. So we just put df in there. And let's see what response we get. false. So it is giving us false, false, false throughout. Okay. So we want to see if there are any nulls. Okay. How do we go about this? Count. We run this. It's giving us 100. We want to see the ones that do not have true or false. Okay. So now we can put in a command and say it's null, right? Then we come here and do df. Okay. Let me just write that on a different line so we can appreciate what I'm doing. So let's remove this here. We run this. Then we come back to the same one. We'll say df. All right. Into square brackets, right? What we just did. Because now we can see, we want to check if there are any nulls in the data sets, right? So we copy this. There is a, oh, okay, I'm slowing down. Okay, sorry about that. Let me increase the font a bit. Okay, so we want to check if there are any empty or missing data sets within empty entries within our data. Okay, that's what we do. So what we first do is, after we've loaded the data, we check it's null. This is just telling us, check if the entry is null. So what it happens is, if the data set is, there is an empty entry in Python, they put NaN. Okay, so NaN means not a number, because in data analysis, 0 has a significance, 1 has a significance, -1 has a significance. So if there is no entry, they can assign a variable or a number to it, okay, a value to it. So they say not, so they just put it there for you to know that that place is empty. It could be anything. So they choose not to put a number there by themselves, okay? So here we have to check if there's any true here. So if there's a true here, then it means that there is what? A missing data entry within our data set. So that's what I'm doing. So now we have checked out all the false. So based on this, let's copy this and let's compare here. Okay. So what we do is we compare if it is equal to true. Okay. So we just put okay, let's run this and see what we get. Now let's count and see how many of them 0. So it means that there are no missing data sets within the first one. Okay. Now let's try this same command for the second one. I hope up to this point it is clear. We are asking it if, so what we did here was, we want to find out if the data is the entries within the certain data sets are empty. That's what we did here. Let me see if you have a question here. Good. So we now, it gives us true or false, whether the data is empty or not. If it is empty, it says true. If it is not, it says false. Okay. So now we check within that data if any of the entries is true. Okay. Then we count. We want to make sure if the data set has, a missing entry. Okay. to slow down. My time is almost up. And today is the last slide. I've not even touched, I've not finished what I wanted to do today, but I think you can, with this, you guys can do a lot more on your own. So let me go back. Okay. So this data set that we have, this DF data set, the first one that we loaded, this one, right? This DF, okay. We want to check if there are any missing entries. So for example, in case where there's nothing here, okay. And how you do that in Pandas, okay, is that you use this command, pandas.isNum. Okay, this is one way of doing it. Another way is also the other way we have used it several times. I've shown you so many ways of doing. So you can just do df dot isNum like that. That's a double L. And we run this, it still gives us the same thing. So you see, even the same thing, we have two ways of doing it. All right. I try to use all these variations so that you can see the different approaches to solving the same problem. So this one only gives us false, 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 and true, true, true. But the data is huge. Okay. So we can see that if all of them are false, for example, in this case, or if there are any true entries in there. So what do? Now we count. So we are saying that in this data frame, right, comparing this to that, check if there is any entry here where it is true. If the entry is true, then it means that that place is what? There is a missing data set. Okay. And we count them to see the number that we have. So what do? We check and realize that there are no missing entries. But now let's look at the second one that the second data set that we loaded, this. And let's apply the same thing to it. The same command, okay? This same command. So this will replace this because that's the data frame we are working on. Now let's run this. Oh, here, has to be here. Sorry. Let me just .isNum. I just have to remove this. Yeah. It will still work, given the previous approach. Yeah. There is a problem. Oh, I forgot. We did not save this. So we have to save this. Yes. Now let's go back and run it. We did not save it. So the changes we made were not registered. Now let's go back and run the same thing. Where is it? Yeah, this. Run this. Run this. Okay. Then we run this and we run this again. All right. Now we come back and we run this command. Let's see what we get. It's telling us there is a problem somewhere. Okay, let me see. It should give us the missing entries. Or this is not saving. How is this saving for us? Let me check.
I think it's still referring to the first one.
Yes. That is what I'm thinking. Because it's not loading this file. I don't know why it is not loaded. I've saved it so many times.
You can close the tab and see.
Let me see. Yeah, let me close the tab and see how it works. It should load it and give us that information. Anyway, so we go, we run this, we run that. We remove the name. Okay, we are good. Now let's come back here and see if it really works for us. Okay. It's still giving us that. I don't know what is happening, but it's supposed to, if one of the entries is equal to true, it's supposed to give us the counts. So this is how you do it, but I'm not getting why it is not working. Let me check. Yes, so it is telling us that there are no missing entries in there. So maybe what we did not work. It did not save the data. Let me open this again and see what happens. It did not save the empty slots we created. Yes, the empty slots are there. So why is it loading the previous one for us?
Can we use a different name to save this and then call it I mean again, like with a
Sure,
different
we
name?
can try that. So Control Shift S. Let me save us. Go to our student scores. Okay. So let's just change it to scores. And then save it as a CSV file. Okay. So now we have scores saved. In our folder, we have scores.cs. So now let's go back and do that. Scores has empty slots within it. So we go back here and we load scores instead of student scores, right? And this one that. Then we go through the processes again. Then we come back here and then we run this. There is something not right somewhere. There is something not right. Okay, let me see what I can do here. Come back here. I don't know why it is still not loading the right thing for us. It's supposed to. Let me remove the data from the first rows so we can see how it looks. If it loads and there are values here, then it means that something is not doing what it's supposed to do. All right. So let me go back here and then load scores again. Load head. Yes. Now we can see the nans. Good. So we see nans here. Okay. Okay. So now we are going to use this in this. Where is the, oh, okay. It should be here. Now let's run this and see. It still gives us 0. Then it means that the command we are given is not the right command. Okay. So let me see. It gives us everything. Okay. So it's now means it has to be empty. Okay. So if the entry is equal to, okay. So what I want to do now is, in order to troubleshoot this, right? Let's pick it column by column. Okay. Then see what we have. Okay. So the same thing we are doing here, that is not giving us the results that we want. Let's try another approach. So there is a column here that is true. So let's pick geography and then give it dot geography, right? Dot is now geography. Is it? Let me see what we have. It converts everything to none. So it means that the command we are using here is now. It's not the right command. So let's just check this out. Okay. Let's type this, check the, okay, command to check none in Pandas. Very good. We run this, let's see what they give us. Yes, it's now. It's now. I don't know. So I don't know why it is not doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, so it's now. Okay, let's use it's now and not now. Let's see what happens. Maybe it's because I'm using it's null. Maybe that is the reason. Okay, so it's now. Let's see. Let's use the it's now. Perhaps maybe that is what is going to give us what we want. Let's count it and see what we get. We count. Yes. So then initially the it's now that we were using was not, it was not giving us the right thing. So we had to change it. But then when I checked, it is still saying it's now. So I don't know what is happening. Maybe it depends on how I'm using it. But in any case, yeah. So basically, we know that within these data sets, right, there are, we don't even have to bring this one here. I want to see the not this. I just want to see for all the data sets. Let me see what happens. It counts to 100. Okay. So then it means that the commands we were giving it was not giving us the right thing. Okay. Now I understand. So we go back to what give us the right results. Okay. We count it. Then we can see that in chemistry, there are 5. In physics, 5, 5, 5, arts 4, music 4. But then in geography, where we pointed out, there is no nah. So let me just remove this. And then we try it again. It gives us 0, 0, 0. All right. So then it means that there is a way for checking it. Let's go back here. Maybe I'm not getting it right. So you pick the column, okay, it's now. Then you count. You're able to sum, but then this works because true values are treated as 1 and 0. So that's not what I want. I want to see the tables. Okay, it's nan.any. Check if any single null value exists. Okay, so it's .any. So let's try it and see. Let's try that. So we come here. It's null.any. True. All right. So you want to find out all of them. Yes. So this one is telling us that the only column that does not have any null value is chemistry. Physics, there are non-values in all of them, except chemistry. But this is not what we are looking for. We want to check out if any of them exist. This one is for dropping, deleting the columns and all that. I want to get
We
any.
didn't try the first one.
Come
The
again.
very first one. I think we didn't try the very first one they gave.
Which is the very first one they gave?
It's the command is up there. The command.
Yeah, this one.
No,
Okay,
not the sum.
which one?
You see this one. So df and then the column. Okay, this is just for the one column, right?
Yes. So this one chooses only the column. And
Oh,
this
okay.
one gives you the entire data set, right? With the values inside being true or false. But I want us to count the number of truths and the number of falses in there. in the data set, right? So that is what I wanted to do. So we can, with that, hey, I'm already 10 minutes above. So can I humbly ask for an extra 10 minutes so we end this, if that's okay with everyone else? Are we okay? Just 10 more minutes so we play around a bit before I run away. I need you to agree first before I can keep going. I don't want to use my veto powers here. So if majority of you say yes, then I keep going. I only have one yes. Okay. Good. So the yeses have it. Yeah, yeah. That is all what I want here. So I wouldn't be using my veto powers here. All right. So now we want to check if there are any none here. So what we can do is we are going to try another approach. Okay. Let's do this. I like playing around with it. Group by. Let me see if it's going to give me some results. It's going to give me an error. Took too long. So it can only group by can only work on one dimensional frame. So let's say geography. So basically this is how I work sometimes. You try some of these things and then basically how I do the practical session is I don't like have a regime or something or a course that I've written down that I use for this. The practical session, we do it like live the way we do it. So whatever I'm doing, I don't follow like any book that I'm looking at. So we try everything. Everything we are trying is like hands-on in the class. That's how come you see in reality how you would also approach some of these challenges. So you want to do something, what you are working is not giving the results you want. You go online, you check. It's the same way most programmers work. Okay, once you form these basics, you'll be able to understand how all of this works. So you try all the blocks available to you. If it's not giving you what, we change it. Now let's try and apply a function. Okay. Okay. So with this function, what are some of the functions that we can put in there to give us the data that we want? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So I want to try and apply a function to this. Okay. So they will ask me to put the function in here, and then we'll say, let's say lambda. I'll talk about this as well. It's another way of putting things together. And then you say, this is high end. I don't want to go into this point at the time being. I want to try something a bit similar. Okay, so why don't we use, say, a for loop or something to get the trues and the falses? I just want to count it first, then we can now change it to the values we want, okay? So we can understand. So for the empty entries, let's first of all count. I want to count the okay. Okay. I get it now. Let me try this and see what happens. Yes. So we can do it this way. Let's pick each one of them. For example, physics. Let me see if we can see where the value counts are. It counts the values for us, all of them. No, this is not what we are. This is not what we want to do. Let me see the chat. Are there any questions? Okay. Yes, let me see a command that Eugene has given us. We tried that as well. Yep, Eugene. So it's not going to work for us. We have this, and now we want to get the number of. Why don't we do this? This instead. Another approach. Why do I feel like I'm on my own? Nobody is helping me. Okay. Let's try this and see what we get. It took us at the same thing. So basically, from the look of things, we can only count it per row. Okay. So sorry, per column. So we pick chemistry. Okay, we put it here. Right. Then we count. So we probably have to be counting them by rows. It counts the whole thing. Okay, but we want to have where it only counts the true or the falses. So let me see here. Okay, I would figure this out and then share it in the chat for you later on. But these are some of the challenges. Pardon me, I'm not able to get the right approach, but yeah, we'll figure it out. So now what you want to do is, we have noticed that some of these ones are empty, okay? So what we want to do is, we would want to change these to a certain value. So for example, instead of keeping it none, right, we would want to put some values there, okay? Maybe if a student's slot is empty, let's replace it with 0. Or if a student's slot is something, let's replace it with maybe a certain word, okay? So what you can do is, you can fill these places with the values you want, okay? So what we can do is, now let's look at this and then say that wherever there is none, right, fill it with the word, say, not applicable. You will notice that in cases where can you please send the code so that we can try some things to help to, yes. You can play around it, so don't worry about it. So you see what is happening. Now, the entries that were empty before here, earlier on, we had it to be none. Where is it? Yep, this. We had it to be none. We have replaced it with what? Not applicable. So that's how you fill it. So if it's an integer you want it to be, I don't know if it's already created the changes, but if it's not, you can choose to put 0, and then it replaces it with 00 for you. So this is how you fill in the spaces that have none. Or you can choose to delete the rows, the entire row that has none. But the challenge with deleting the entire row is, then it means that any student that missed at least one of the class will be deleted totally. So depending on the kind of data you are working with, you would rather not do that, okay? So for example, you see how this one looks, okay? Let's try with dropping. Let me just put dot head so we don't have a lot of things here. All right, let me just run this. And then here we drop. There is another command called drop now. You remember drop, right? That we used earlier on. So it's similar to that. We do this here. So what is happening? You see now it's telling us that it has 88 rows. So any row that had a none in there, it has dropped it. So you see that this one now, our first line is no longer Alan because Alan had 00 here. It has totally dropped Alan. And now the next one is Martin. You understand? But if you do it this way, what is happening is that you might lose relevant information when you are working around that. When you're working with information, because now Alan's physics, mathematics, and then chemistry and history course have also been deleted because geography and then arts and music was empty, which I don't think is what we want to do. So now usually what you do is you can fill it with a certain number like we did here. So you can choose to fill it with a string, so you can choose to fill it with what? A certain integer that you want. Maybe there's a minimum mark you want to give every student. So even if they attend your classes or not, you want them to have that mark. You can fill that mark here, and then they will fill it in all the data sets that you want. So yeah, so this is how you play around with the data sets and stuff like that. So the project that we are going to do later on will be the same thing, but then I would want you to plot, some of the graphs based on the student performance. So this is going to be the project that we are going to work on. I'm going to give you the same file, but maybe I would want you to plot the performances. I'll give you some of the things that I would want you to, So most of the things that I did here was just for you to see how these things work. So you have to do most of them on your own. Okay, I don't think we can like teach you so much within a month. Programming is huge. But what I wanted to do is just give you the basic knowledge, something that can help you on your journey. So that is basically the aim of what I did. So I would look at the project and then we'll do that. Yeah, Elon Prosper. Around this up.
Hello, Doc.
Yeah, yes, sir, boss.
Yes, for me, I'm emotional already because this is the last class. I'm sad,
Hey.
but no vex. So it's when I joined the class, I was hoping by the time we are done, like we are hacking NASA. So you say if you play around, how can we use the small things you've taught us to hack NASA? Thank
You
you.
want to hack NASA after
Yeah,
taking 1 month programming course.
like
And
some
this 1
action.
month, guys, 3 times a week. And that's 2 hours every week.
Okay, maybe NASA is too high. Let's do KFC.
There are 2 types of programming. Okay. There's the ethical programming and there's the unethical ones, right? And even with hacking, the ethical hacking and there's non-ethical. So when it comes to programming, right, like there are several facets of it. For example, let's pick physics. There's the mechanics of it. There is the atomic physics. There is that. So many, even within the same physics. It's the same with programming. So what I'm giving you is the basic understanding to know how to push from left to right. But if you want to go into hacking, it is a whole new, domain that you have to study. Like the way you cannot do machine learning without knowing Python or R or the various ones that you need to do that. It's the same thing. If you want to do hacking, you want to do it in Python, okay? Maybe you want to use the Linux version because Linux is where they do that most often. They have the various modules for that in there. Then you at least need to know how to use Linux, okay? So what this course is trying to achieve is not to turn you into a pro overnight, which I believe would be physically impossible. Maybe there might be some spiritual ways of doing it, but I don't have that powers yet. So what I did was to give you like the basic understanding, okay? So you know that when I see this, or maybe when I pick a certain code, and the line is in a certain way, I know what it means. I know what the code is doing. Or if I'm writing the code and I get an error, based on the understanding I have, I know where the error is coming from. Okay. So that is what I aim to achieve. So I'm sure by now, most of you can at least load data sets. You can play around, describe the data. For example, one of you asked if Python and Excel, which one is better. Now, based on this, you can pick similar data sets and play around with it in Python as well. You get it?
Okay, yeah.
Yes. So the subsequent class that would have been that we could go into machine learning with Python programming. So this one is giving you basics. Now, when I start machine learning, I am not going to go into for loops and all those things because I think you already know that. So that is why in programming, there is the beginner, there is the intermediate, and there is the advanced. I hope that is clear.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, so this class was basically for the beginner stage. So it is just to help you understand a few things. Okay, so Apple, your hand is up. Thank you, Elon, for that.
Yes, sir, please.
Can I ask you
to? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Please, thank you very, very much. Please, is there going to be another class again?
Yes, I think we will discuss with the National Union of Ghanaian Students in China, and then we'll see if there is room for that. It's not impossible to have another class.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And that will
Thank
be
you
basically probably on machine learning or something extra. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, so the machine learning will be good.
Okay,
yes.
Good.
Okay.
There was
can I ask you, Doctor?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry I didn't get a chance to attend this class before. Just I attended the honor today, and I do really like to learn more about Python. So I saw how you are analyzing and just check up some different things by using this software. I don't know if kindly maybe you can share with us those ones who attended the tourette, those of some software that you are using so that we can download, and if we can get also some of maybe slides or any recorded so we can pass through them even if we do not have other chance to attend this class anymore.
Okay. Itimara, right? Your name is Itimara, right?
Yes.
Yes, Itimara. So you can log on to the YouTube page of NUGS-CHINA in China. All the videos that we did from day one has been uploaded. So you can see everything that we did in this class till today in there, and then I'm sure you can get a better understanding. And we still have the group active. So if you have any questions going forward, you can just drop it in there. And I myself and some of your colleagues, I'm possibly will be happy to help you out with your challenges as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So there is no any software that maybe you use it that I have to download?
So the software we are using is Python, but then we use certain modules, and I've showed in our previous videos, I've showed how to install those modules on your PC using Python. So Python is basically the software you are using, but then the modules that we import, we install them, and the process is also within some of the class exams, videos that is online. Yeah, so you can have access to them.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. All right. So are there any other questions before I run away?
Yes, please. Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask if we want to use Python for machine learning, can you suggest the way forward for me?
Oh, so with what you have now, I believe you can do machine learning. Okay, so machine learning, it just shows you the procedure. You look at your data. When you are done with looking at your data, you also look at designing your model, because if you describe your model, you have to put in the hyperparameters, and then you fit your model. When you finish, you predict your results, and then you validate them. That is machine learning. The processes are quite straightforward, but what is in between is how you play around with it. So the reason why people doing the same project of machine learning come up with different results is one, how you fit your data, the hyperparameters you put in there when you are creating your model, how you process your data. So you would hear most often than not, most machine learners complain about data pre-processing. That is where, so data pre-processing is what we did here. So you might, in this case, we're dealing with only 100 rows and 7 columns. You might have cases where you are dealing with 10,000 rows, okay? You have about 35 or 40 columns. That is the data you're working with. And in some cases, in pre-processing, you have to make sure that you don't have the nonce in there, you place them in a certain way. For example, some columns will be, categorical, that they don't have numerical value. Because if you put in numerical values, it's going to change the whole thing. How are you going to do it? You might probably use one-hot encoding, So there are so many ways of pre-processing your data. And once you are done with the pre-processing, now you can fall back on the other things. See, machine learning, the difficult part, the most difficult part, okay, for me, in my understanding, is what? Pre-processing the data. And then secondly, fitting the model, like, describing or, creating your model well, because the hyperparameters play a very critical role. If you want to find your local minima and all those things, how to play around it, then that's where your statistics will also come in. So for what we have done in this class, I believe you can take on any machine learning course as I speak to you. And one of the places I would want you to go and give it a shot is try Kaggle. Kaggle. So let me show you Kaggle. They would have some. Oh, where is it? So Kaggle is a very good place for starters. You go. So what they do is they have most beginners go there to try their hands out. So there are, what do you call it? There are several projects for you to do, and in the projects, some of them, they give money as well. So if you're able to hit the top 5 or the top 10, there are rewards that they can give you and all of that. You can see all the exciting things in there. They are training, all these things are there for you. So for me, I would suggest if you want to go into machine learning or something, just try Kaggle. Kaggle is a bit user-friendly, and it is free of charge. You don't pay for anything. They give you the data that you're going to play with. You look at, you have the CNNs, all these things are there. So I would suggest you just give it a shot. Other places, you may have to pay, or it might not be, you may not have the access to resources. Here, they will give you dedicated, computers online, like the way we have the servers and all that you can run the code as well and get results. So you don't have to worry about certain things. So I would suggest you just give it a shot and see how it looks like when you work with these ones. All right.
Okay. Thank you. I'll be working with some data. So in case I'm facing any challenge, I'll reach out.
That would be excellent. That would be excellent. So, all these things are there. So I suggest you go to Kaggle. They have several of them, competitions where you can win money. So you go in there. This one, they are giving some amount of money, almost $2 million for this. So if you're able to solve this problem, you are going to win this amount of money. This one is giving $200,000. This 100,000, 50,000. So there are several of them. So companies put their challenges out there for people to solve. If you're able to solve it, you get the money. So that is Kaggle. And one thing too that I would suggest is sometimes if you finish school and you want to apply for companies online, right? What happens is they would also want to see some of your performances on some of the competitions. So if you try and your performance is good in some competitions, you can even use this to apply for a job. They know that you are good, you're able to work. So you see, these are the solutions. So you see the first place, second place, you are seeing all of it. And not all of them, and this one comes from different countries. So you go there and then you play around. Some you see some Chinese people trying it, Americans. It's a very vibrant community where you can learn a lot. So you can actually see how people did their work. Okay, so you look at their codes and all of that. It is there. It's out there for you. I suggest you try Kaggle as your first place to see how these things are. Okay, I hope that clarifies that.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other question? Let me quickly share this in the chat box as well. Any other question before we draw the curtains for today? Any other questions? I mean, you can stop, what do you call it? You can stop recording.